Safety or no safety? That's the question we're asking today, and what we're going to be talking about. Is it necessary to have a safety? Should you definitely have a safety? It's pretty much something that we all talk about, especially new shooters and beginning shooters especially. I'm Headshot87. Welcome back, and we're just going to talk about it a little bit today. Both guns are clear. We're good to go. No magazines, no bullets. So I'm kind of just going to tell you how this evolved for us, for me, just in the past year. So safety was a big deal when I started carrying, or even before I bought my first concealed carry gun. I absolutely wanted a safety on the gun, no questions about it. First gun I bought was the M&P 9C. It had the ambidextrous safety, and it was fine. So now through a year, a little bit has changed, and that's going to be probably the most important thing you will see in your journey of carrying and buying guns. Your perspective is always changing. Nothing is going to stay the same. You're always going to be looking at something different. So like I said, the M&P 9C, we've since sold that gun, but even Jenny, when her first gun was the SR9C, those things are loaded with safeties. They have ambidextrous thumb safeties as well. So now this is the Shield. This one does have a safety. We bought the Shield probably about 4 months after we actually started carrying, and there was no option to get with or without safety, but that was fine because we were still in that stage where we wanted to have a safety. Now I'll kind of go into carrying with a round in the chamber. It's kind of come to that because when we first started, we were not carrying with a round in the chamber with a safety on. Why is that important? Well, there was a video I seen, and I'll leave the link down in the description below. But I seen this video on YouTube, and it really kind of opened my eyes to what a defensive situation actually looks like. What does that look like? How long does it take? And it's a matter of seconds on average, pretty much. So what the guy did is he used a, I think he was actually carrying with a round in the chamber, chambered versus not chambered, and the time it takes to pull your gun, get it on your target, chamber around, pull it up, boom, compared to pulling your gun, getting it on target and pulling the trigger, is a really big deal, and it can be a big deal in that kind of situation. But now you throw a safety into it. Now I really honestly didn't think this would come to me, but when we're practicing with this gun, right, even with the SR9C and the M&P 9C, when I pull this gun out, even I know I have to hit that safety. I know I have to hit it. I still will do this, and then hit the safety. It just happens to me. And I know that's part of training, and it is, but I don't think that in a stressful situation where I'm not at the range, where I actually have to use, well, hopefully never I do, but if I ever did and I have to hit that safety, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. And there's been quite a few videos that I've seen where I think James Yeager has one even, where he's talking about these guns are designed to be carried with a loaded chamber. And that's very, I mean, when you think about it, police carry like that. Our military does. They do require safeties on like the Berettas, the 92FS and stuff like that, but they carry with a loaded chamber. And I know most cops use Glocks and they don't have safety. So the safety and the chambered round kind of play with one another. But do you really need a safety? And for me, it's no. Like this Glock, obviously all Glocks, there's no safety on them. And now, even with this gun, when I load it up and I put it on my person, I leave the safety off. I know for me, I feel better not having that extra step. There's nothing else to worry about, because in that situation, God forbid, there's going to be a lot that you're worried about, and you're going to be fumbling around, you know, hopefully not, but there's going to be a lot to consider. So that's one step I don't want to have to worry about. I know Jenny is different on this. After a year, she absolutely wants a safety. I don't know if it's part of the mindset, but she wants that safety, and a lot of people do. That's kind of why we're making the video, just to bring it up. I think the biggest thing, if you're looking at your first concealed carry gun, I know what I do has been, you know, I'll take snap caps in the shield, and I'll just practice with it all the time. You can ask anybody, or you know, you can ask Jenny. All the time I'm picking the gun up, obviously making sure it's clear and being safe with it. But I'll take it and I'll work the action, and just, you know, while I'm watching TV or whatever, and then I'll pull the trigger, you know, just to see how it feels. I'll take it and I'll put it out and see, even with no round in there, see if I'm flinching at all, anything like that. And I think it's made me more comfortable with the gun, to be honest with you. Now, that might sound funny, just me playing around in my bedroom with the guns or whatever, but it's true. It just, I feel more comfortable with this loaded on me and the safety off. The Smith & Wesson Shield now since has a model that's coming, or that's out without the safety, so that's nice. The LC9S Pro that they just dropped, no safety. So I think, you know, companies are kind of starting to realize, hey, you know, there's a lot of people that don't want the safety, because now it might not seem like a big deal because you could just leave it off like I do on this gun. But no matter how positive that safety is, you got to keep in mind it can be turned on. It just can. So you pull the gun out, you know you don't have the safety on if you ever had to pull the gun out. You pull it out, and all of a sudden, it doesn't go boom when you need it to go boom, and that could be a bad situation. So I think it comes down to timing, how comfortable you are with your gun, how comfortable you are carrying. But just keep in mind, you know, if you're just looking at a new handgun, or buying a handgun or concealed carry or whatever the case may be, your mindset's going to change. As you become more comfortable with it, you're going to change. You think you have the perfect little setup, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I want something different. I want to try something different. That's kind of where I'm at with the Glock 42, not because of this, obviously there's no safety. Kind of delving into the whole 380 thing. The LC9S is comparable in size, yet it's 9mm. 9mm is cheaper to shoot, but that's for a different video. So it's just something to consider if you're going out getting a gun or whatever. Just keep in mind your opinion and your mindset is going to change. I guess you can have safeties removed and stuff, but one of the cool things about it, this year alone, in our first year of actually really shooting guns, buying guns and all that, this is actually Jenny's gun. This is the SR9C. This is the second gun Jenny has owned. This is my third this year. So when you buy a gun, if you take care of it, the good thing is you can always pretty much get most of your money back out of it, even used. So that's a nice thing. I go to Arms List all the time. I literally sold an M&P9C, SR9C, and the Springfield XCS. Literally, total time on those three guns was like 4 days. So you can't beat that. You have an investment, so even if you buy it a couple months down the road, you figure, man, I really don't want this, or I don't want the safety on the gun, I want the model without. You have an investment, so that is a positive. So one thing to, you know, on a closing thought on this too, one thing to think about is obviously the safety in between your ears is always going to be the most important. But there are safeties built on the inside of the gun to protect you from certain things as well. Safe action trigger. You guys all know what this looks like. If you pull from the top, the trigger's not gonna pull. If you pull it just right, the trigger will pull. That's a safety in itself. M&P is set up the same exact way. If you pull from the top, it's not gonna pull. You have this kind of like split, broken trigger looking thing right here, and that's the system they use. But remember, no safety is going to keep you from accidental discharges, going to keep you from anything like that. It's going to be your awareness of keeping that trigger finger from sliding on in there and pulling the trigger accidentally. No safety is going to keep you from messing up. It's going to be your intuition and you knowing what to do with training and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. One thing I did want to mention, like 1911s, you definitely want to have a safety because it's such a light trigger pull. You definitely want that. You carry cocked and locked, but you have the safety on there. So like I said, with good training, you can make any of these guns work with or without a safety. But for me, at this point now, I'd much rather not have it. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys liked it. If you do, give that thumbs up a click, and thanks for sharing, subscribing, and doing all that. We'll see you next time, and as always, hold them down.